Hey there nation, welcome to the show. We help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander CheapSkate, and now it's time for another edition of Tales from the Underhive. This is our series of Necromunda battle reports. This is battle report number 31, and this one's kind of an interesting scenario because this was what's called a pit fight scenario. Pretty much what ends up happening is that all the gangs in our campaign engage in the pit fight scenario system. Pretty much what happens is that two or more gangs get basically thrown into the pits, and they're basically get a random number of fighters. They all fight outside the pits to see exactly who rules over the pits in terms of earning credits, and same thing with inflicting wounds and that kind of thing. So it's kind of like a Thunderdome meets gladiatorial style combat type series of scenarios. In this one, we have two gangs are stepping up directly into the Thunderdome. In this one, we have Warlord Ace of 911 of House Van Saar versus my other friend Death of the People Eaters of his Scavvy gangs. So we have the 911 and the Scavvies. Last time these guys fought out was a long time ago during a caravan scenario, during the outlaw scenarios that we did a little while ago. So now these two gangs have been itching at each other to go at it again. So this time they'll be doing so into the pit of the Underhive. So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to run some pictures of some guys who will be participating in the fights. Same thing with the gang rosters, so that we can take a look exactly what they have, and we'll play some background music. Go and look at those at your own leisure if you'd like to. So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get this on. Alright folks, let's go ahead and talk about the scenario rules for this one. This one is called a pit fight scenario. So you can see we're actually fighting on a much smaller table than usually on your 4x4. In a pit fight scenario, you're fighting on a 2-foot by 2-foot square is what you end up doing. It's supposed to represent this as a pit in the middle of the arena, and whatever debris and things you throw inside the middle of the arena ends up being the things that the fighters interact with. Pretty much what ends up happening is the gangs take on opposite sides of the pit. They have a 8x4 area in the center of their deployment area, where they deploy their entire gang, and after that they just kind of go about doing the normal rules of combat from Necromunda until eventually one gang is fully destroyed. In these scenarios, you cannot battle out your gang. You have to basically defeat your gang to the man if you wanted to win this scenario. So that makes it to a very tight as well as a very brutal type of combat system that takes place here. Obviously, special deployment rules, things like infiltrate, vents, and tunnels, they no longer work because you're fighting in the tunnels, and so that's exactly what's going on when it comes to these pit fights as well. So this time we're going to be talking, as you can see, we're having a bit of debris, some walls and things like that for our characters fighting. Let's go into the deployment area and get this battle report on the start. Alright, first on the table we have the People Eaters. So as you can see there, we have, I think, you have 8 members of the gang that are located up here on the fight for the Scavvies. As you can see, we got Longcoat Kill in the back with his leader Bloodwing as well. Up in the front left, we got Bloodraiser. That guy's a close combat piece with the bolt pistol. Right next to him, we have Binbag as well. And then, of course, we have the Nerf Herder. We have the Nerf Herder number 2. He's right there in the back. He's got the Bloated Mutation. In front of him is Nerf number 1. That guy has got 2 heads as well as 2 stub guns and an auto gun. He's got a whole slew of characteristics increases. That guy is a killer. On the left of him is Nerf number 3. On the right, we have Nerf number 2. Nerf number 3 is armed with a stub gun as well as a sword, and Nerf number 2 is armed with a blunderbuss. Both of those nerfs, both Nerf number 2 and 3, also have tox bombs in this scenario, which actually kind of plays an important part later on. So that makes up the deployment for the People Eaters. And at the top, we have the deployment from 9/11. So as you can see, we have 8 members of this gang fighting out as well. We have all 3 pit fighters. We have Plunkett, McLean, as well as Eddie Chance. Eddie Chance taking the center while Plunkett, McLean are to their flanks. In the back, I believe we have Moloko as well as Nero. And of course, we have our Jews on the left-hand side. We have, I believe their names are Grim and Hollow. I was like F&G and Harlow Grimm, I think, is what the guy's name is. Grimm is the other guy. And then right behind them, of course, you have Tough Shakes as well. And that makes the deployment for 9/11 in this scenario. And before we do anything else, we use the quick witted phase. Nerf number 3 has quick witted, so you can see he moved up 12 inches from its deployment zone right behind the little rubble pile on the right hand side of 9/11. So that will make up the quick witted deployment for this one. And that takes us directly to the top of turn number 1 for the people leaders. The people leaders won the initiative on this one, and this photo is taken directly after the movement phase. And as you can see, my friend Odette doesn't waste any time and starts getting his guys moved as quickly as possible, trying to take control of key terrain within the pit in order to take out 9/11. First of all, he's got Longcoat Killer as well as Bloodwing. He's got Bloodwing behind that wall there, so that way his leader doesn't get killed. He's got Bloodwing there to support. At the same time, he runs up Bimbag as well as Blood Razor along that line of razor wire in order to protect their right-hand flank, so that way they can assault the 9/11's left-hand flank. In the center, we have what's it called, Nerf number 2 as well as Nerf number 1, sorry, Nerf number 3 and 1, sorry, with the Nerf herder number 2. They're kind of taking up the center positions there in order to assault. And of course, you have Nerf number 2 just kind of situates himself as right where he's at with his blunderbuss as well as his tox bombs. All right, with that being said, we go directly to the shooting phase. And in the shooting phase, we have tox bombs that start raining down upon 9/11. Both Nerf number 2 and Nerf number 3 both throw their tox bombs at this group of 4 members of 9/11. I believe he hits Eddie Chance as well as Plunkett, also ends up hitting Moloko as well as Nero as well, and they also cause some injuries as well. In fact, 2 guys actually take some wounds on that part. Nero gets a flesh wound, I believe, so he's -1 ballistic skill, as well as -1 weapon skill for the rest of the turn, while, so not Moloko, Nero. And Moloko, he's just down and out for right now, so all he can do is just kind of crawl around for 2 inches and just try to breathe from the toxic fumes that kind of came his way. So after the tox bomb attack, we do it directly to the shooting phase. And in the process of the shooting phase, 2 of the pit slaves go down. McLean, he goes down. He's just out for the count for right now, so he's just lying there bleeding. You got the little 4 right next to him. However, Eddie Chance, the post-combat pit fighter, he goes down and out of action as well. So that character has already chalked up the first casualty for the People Eaters against 9/11. So things are looking pretty good for the People Eaters at this point. However, it did came up to a ammo roll check for Nerf number 1. Unfortunately for him, he failed his ammo roll checks because that his twin stub guns are now out of action, out of ammo. So at this point now he'll have to fight with a regular auto gun for the rest of the battle report because his stub guns are no good. So that since no one's engaged in close combat, there's no need for recovery for the People Leaders. We go directly to the top of turn number 2, bottom of turn number 1 for 9/11. Alright, so this is a picture of bottom of turn number 1 after movement phase for 9/11. As you can see, pretty much a little bit of movement takes place for 9/11. First of all, Moloko as well as McLean, they kind of scoot back 2 inches behind the rubble pile so that way they stop being shot at by the members of the People Leaders. At the same time, he also sends up Plunkett. He also sends that guy up about 4 inches that way he can start engaging into those Nerf herd with his pistols. He keeps Moloko Nero where he's located so that we can cut loose with his auto slugger. And then right to the left, sorry, with his auto slugger, his heavy stubber. And on the left hand side, you have Tough Shake as well as the 2 Juves. They kind of go around the corner of the razor wire so that way they can start engaging Blood Razor as well as Binbag and Longcoat Killer and defend their left flank at the same time. So with movement over, we go directly to the shooting phase. And unfortunately, shooting phase doesn't go very well for 9/11. My buddy Warlord Ace rolls off on his heavy stubber as well as McLean's plasma, Plunkett's plasma pistol. However, the only thing they're able to do is finally put down Nerf number 3. They rolled up a 4 on his injury, so that right now all he can do is lay down. He's down and just kind of bleeding out right now. He's just down for right now, not have action at all. So because of that, that was the only real significant shooting that took place for 9/11, which is pretty bad because 9/11 is a Van Saar gang and they're known for being very shooty. And to make matters worse, both Plunkett as well as Nero, they both run out of ammo for their weapons as well. So because of that, they both failed an ammo check. Both those guys have jammed guns, so all they can really do now is engage in close combat as well. So that takes place the shooting here in the center of the board. At the same time, all 3 members of the Van Saar 9/11 on the left-hand flank open up onto Binbag, managed to put him down as well. Unfortunately for them, though, they rolled a 3 for his injury, so he's just laying there bleeding out. Did not take him out of action. Like I said, not much of a spectacular shooting around for 9/11. Since no one's engaged in close combat, we skip the combat phase and go straight to recovery. And both McLean and Moloko are still down. They got 4s rolled up for their recovery, so they're just sticking behind that rubble and just taking their time trying to recover as quick as they possibly can so that way they get back into the fight. So with turn number 1 over, we go directly to the top of turn number 2 for the People Eaters. Okay, and that takes us directly to turn number 2 for the people leaders. This photo is taken after the move phase. As you can see, my buddy Odette decides to kind of go for broke and start engaging these guys in the close combat. First off, starting on the left-hand flank, Longcoat Killer as well as Blood Raider engage the 2 Jews against for 9/11 as well. At the same time, he also moves a Bloodwing, pulls him out of play from behind that pillar of concrete right next to the right-hand side of that wall of razor wire as well. He also charges in Nerf number 1 to start taking on Plunkett. He also moves at the Nerf Herder number 2, as well as Nerf number 2. So moving those guys towards the center to try to engage the rest of these guys who are down, because if they can charge into those characters who are down during the combat phase, they automatically go out of position as well. At the same time, both Binbag as well as Nerf number 3, they try to crawl back 2 more inches and get more behind cover, so that way they don't get countercharged and also killed at the same time. Here's a close-up of Nerf number 1 engaging close combat with Plunkett, so that'll be kind of interesting to see exactly how that combat goes along, because Plunkett is a plit slave with a buzzsaw, and Nerf number 1 is actually pretty deadly despite his diminutive size. And here's a close with Longcoat Killer as well as Blood Razor charging to the 2 Jews for 9/11. Alright, during the shooting phase, Bloodwing as well as Nerf number 2 as well as Nerf number 3 open up onto the 2 remaining members of 9/11 also start shooting them as well. As a result of that, both Nero gets shot, he kind of goes down, he will also be able to go out of action as well. They also land 2 more shots onto McLean as well, also giving him 2 more injuries on top of the one he's already sustained from being down at this point. As you can see, things are not looking up for 9/11. First of all, we have Nero, he's down and out of action as well, so he will not be participating for the rest of the battle report, and McLean's also been put down 2 more times, earning some more wounds for 9/11. And since the shooting, not 9/11, for the people leaders. And since shooting phase is now over with, we go directly to the combat phase. And as you can see from the dice rolls we'll be showing with our combat scores, we have a 9-7 combat score taking place, where basically, what's his name, Nerf number 2 gets 2 more hits on top of Plunkett, so things are looking bad for 9/11. And to make matters worse, both wounds also wound as well, so because that Plunkett is now out of action as well. So right now, 9/11 is facing a lot of problems right now. They got almost half of their fighters for the pit out now, and the rest of them are kind of down or bleeding out, so things are not looking good for 9/11 in this battle report. And to make matters worse, Nerf number 1 also does his 2-inch follow-up. He hits closer to McLean as well. And like I said before, Necromunda, if your character is down and these guys charge directly into you and engage in close combat while you are down, you automatically go out of action. So all they do is kind of like a quick coup de grace and just kind of finish you off. So 9/11 is in dire straits at this point. Close combat here on the left-hand side also went very, very bad for 9/11 as well. First of all, Longcoat Killer got a combat score of 11 versus that Jew score of 7, so that gives him a 4-point difference. That way he can kind of beat on him 4 times. And to make things worse, Longcoat Killer does have a power sword. At the same time, Rail Razor has a combat score of 10, while the other Jew only has a combat score of 5, which is a difference of 5 different hits that these guys will be landing on their respective victims. As you can see in this photo, Longcoat Killer managed to inflict 4 wounds onto his victim, and Blood Razor managed to put 5 wounds on the second guy. So both of those Jews automatically go out of action. And both Longcoat Killer and Blood Razor follow through real quick 2 inches and charge directly into Tough Shakes now. So he'll have to deal with these 2 members of the gang by himself. I do believe Tough Shakes does have combat mastery, so because of that, he will get the bonuses for being outnumbered. So that is kind of a nice part for 9/11. But at the same time, though, 1 ganger against 2 hardcore killers, I'm not sure how things are going to go out for that guy. So that being said, we go directly to the recovery phase. And Nerf number 3 serves a flesh wound, so he's back on his feet. He's got -1 to his ballistic skill as well as to his weapon skill for the rest of the game. But unfortunately, Binbag rolls a 6 for his recovery, so he is out of action, which is the very first loss that the People Eaters have taken so far during this campaign. So that being said, we go now to the bottom of turn number 2 for 9/11. Alright, so that takes us directly to the bottom of turn number 2 for 9/11. As you see, most of the gang is already out of action. You'll got 2 guys who are down, as well as 1 guy who engaged in close combat. So because of that, not much movement takes place at all. And because everyone is either down or engaged in close combat, we skip the shooting phase and go directly to the combat phase. And to make matters worse, the combat between Blood Razor as well as Tough Shakes is absolutely brutal. Tough Shakes gets a combat score of 7, however, Blood Razor gets a combat score of 12. So because of that, we have a 5-point difference in the amount of hits that Blood Razor will be inflicting onto poor Tough Shakes. Of those 5 hits, 3 wounds, so because that Tough Shake does down and as well as out of action, and at the same time, Blood Razor also nets himself 15 experience points for the number of wounds that he caused as well. And together, he and both Longcoat Killer also move forward up 2 inches with their follow-up movement and start heading down to the down bodies of both McLean as well as Moloko. During the recovery phase, Moloko rolls up a 6 for his recovery, so because of that, he automatically goes out of action, while McLean rolls up a 4 as well, so he is still down. So because of that, we go directly to the top of turn number 3 for the People Eaters. And during the movement phase for turn number 3 for the People Eaters, they just send in nerf number 1. He charged directly into McLean. And like I said before, because if he automatically engages him in close combat while McLean is down, he automatically goes out of action. And that takes us to the end of the game, ladies and gentlemen, with the People Eaters having a sweeping victory against 9/11 and just wiping them off the face of the board. So as you can see there, pretty much a pretty one-sided victory for the People Eaters. They got only 1 member of their gang down. They still have 7 members still left on the table, while they put down the other 8 members on 9/11, which is pretty good for the People Eaters because the People Eaters have been facing a tremendous amount of losses these last few times in the campaign, and they can definitely use the boost for the victory, boosts in experience points as well as credits as well to kind of improve their gang. So that's good to do for this one, ladies and gentlemen. This battle report is now officially in the books. We go to the post game and talk about exactly what happened for each of the gangs after this fight. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, now it's time for the post game. We're going to talk about exactly what ended up happening to both these gangs. First of all, let's go and start with 9/11 for injuries. Actually, even though 9/11 actually suffered a lot of losses for this battle report, all members of the gang made full recovery, which is actually pretty good. Actually, a couple of the members of the gang did roll up for being captured, but as the scenario rules go, instead of being captured in this scenario, since it's a pit fight, they automatically go free, so it just acts as a full recovery as ended up happening. So because of that, all 8 members of the gang fully recover and no major injuries are sustained. For advancements, Moloko gains +1 to his wounds, so now he's harder to kill. Hollows is promoted to a ganger, also gets +1 to his wounds as well, and then Grim also gets +1 to his wounds as well. So now he's carrying multiple members of this gang with multiple wounds, which is actually pretty good for them. They end up making 125 credits from their territory, and they worked on them, and they also netted a profit of 45 creds. For the merchant, they spent 30 creds on rehiring all 3 pit slaves again. They kept 15 creds inside the stash. 9/11's new records now is at 5 wins as well as 6 losses, and their new gang ranking is at 2,351 points. Alright, and finally let's talk about the People Eaters. For injuries, Bin Bag made a full recovery, so he's absolutely fine on this one. For advancements, actually because of the difference in the gang ratings, a lot of the members of this gang that took place in the fight actually advanced. Bloodwing got +1 to his weapon skill, same thing with Bloodrazor. He also got +2 to his initiative as well as +1 to his ballistic skill, so that guy actually leveled up 4 times because of the experience he was gaining from those close combat attacks. Nerf number 2, he leveled up twice. He got +1 to his strength and +1 to his ballistic skill. Nerf number 1, as weird as it may sound, also leveled up twice as well. He got +1 to his ballistic skill as well as +1 to his initiative. Nerf number 2 earned +2 to his ballistic skill, while nerf number 3 leveled up twice, got +1 to his weapon skill as well as +1 to his ballistic skill. Longcoat Killer also leveled up 3 times as well, earning +1 to his attack, his strength, as well as to his leadership as well. For the territories, the gang netted a profit of 198 credits after scavenging, including their underdog bonuses, as also expenses that they had in order to pay for all the gang members, as well as hiring up new plague zombies and things of that nature. With their leftover credits, with their profit of 198 credits, they hired a new scaly named Roar 2, and they equipped it with a spear gun again, which is absolutely devastating because I remember being a victim of those spear guns, and I hate those things. But anyways, it's kind of nice to see that this gang has a scaly with them again. Their new record now is at 3 wins as well as 5 losses, and their new gang rating is now at 2,065 points. That's going to do it for this one, ladies and gentlemen. This is the very first of our pit fight scenarios that we're running through the entire campaign for a majority of our gangs in Tales from the Underhive. As always, you guys, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Your guys' input is always invaluable. Also, feel free to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as Google Plus to stay up to date on the latest and greatest what's going on for hobby. And remember, we alternate between every Thursday with this show, Tales of the Underhive, which are Necromunda battle reports, with Warhammer the Golden Age, which is our channel's Warhammer 8th Edition Fantasy battle reports. And on Sundays, we alternate between two different series. We have the 9th Saga, which is this channel's 9th Age battle reports, as well as Age of the Realms, which is this channel's Warhammer Age of Sigmar battle reports. That's good to do for this one, you guys. You guys stay classy, keep it real. We will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.